Effect of glucagon epinephrine on glycogenolysis. Glucagon and epinephrine stimulate glycogenolysis. Okay, they cause glycogenolysis to happen. They cause the breakdown of glycogen, glucagon and epinephrine. And then this glycogenolysis is happening in liver cells or muscle cells. Liver is more responsive to glucagon, whereas muscle is more responsive to epinephrine. Glycogen phosphorylase is the key enzyme of glycogenolysis, and this enzyme is regulated by reversible phosphorylation. And this reversible phosphorylation is responsive to hormones such as glucagon and epinephrine. So these two hormones affects the activity of glycogen phosphorylase. Now this glucagon is a polypeptide hormone which is secreted by the alpha cells of pancreatic islets. Okay, in pancreatic islets you have alpha cells. Those alpha cells secrete a polypeptide hormone which is known as glucagon. Glucagon opposes many actions of insulin. Now glucagon maintains blood glucose levels, and how it maintains blood glucose level? By activation of hepatic glycogenolysis and gluconeogenesis. Okay, so by activation of hepatic glycogenolysis and gluconeogenesis, glucagon is able to maintain blood glucose level. Now this glucagon contains 29 amino acids, and these 29 amino acids are arranged in a single polypeptide chain. So glucagon is a single polypeptide chain which contains 29 amino acids. And one thing important to remember here is that glucagon opposes many actions of insulin. Now the amino acid sequence of glucagon is same in all mammalian species which have been examined to date. Okay, in all the mammalian species, the glucagon amino acid sequence is same. Now if you are considering insulin, then the amino acid sequence of insulin is not same in all mammalian species. Okay, but the amino acid sequence of glucagon is same in all mammalian species. Now this glucagon is synthesized as a large precursor molecule, and this large precursor molecule is then converted to glucagon through a series of selective proteolytic cleavages. Now in this large precursor molecule there are series of selective proteolytic cleavages, and that leads to the formation of glucagon. Now let's talk about epinephrine. Okay, this epinephrine is also known as adrenaline and is synthesized from amino acid tyrosine, and this hormone is secreted by adrenal medulla, and that is the reason why it is also known as adrenaline. Now this epinephrine is secreted when there is stimulation of sympathetic nervous system, and this epinephrine is secreted for meeting or dealing with the emergency of stress. Okay, in the emergency condition or in the stressed condition, this epinephrine is secreted to deal with this stressed condition. So in the case of emergency, there is stimulation of sympathetic nervous system which leads to the secretion of epinephrine. Now what are those emergency conditions in which the epinephrine is secreted? Okay, it is injury, it is pain, it is fever, it is accident, it is grief or fall in blood pressure. This all condition leads to the stimulation of sympathetic nervous system, and because of that epinephrine is secreted. And that is the reason why this epinephrine is also known as emergency hormone, because it is released during emergency like injury, pain, fever, etc., etc. Now what does this epinephrine do? It increases the sugar level in blood. During emergency, there needs to be sugar in the system so that during emergency we can easily obtain energy from it. And that is the reason why during emergency epinephrine is released, which increases the sugar level in blood. And how it increases the sugar level in blood? By stimulating glycogenolysis in liver and skeletal muscles. So epinephrine makes the glycogen to break down into glucose, so that glucose of glycogen is available for energy in the emergency conditions. In muscle, epinephrine causes the activation of protein kinase A. Okay, muscle has protein kinase A, and that enzyme is activated by epinephrine. So protein kinase A is activated. Now this pKa, protein kinase A, promotes glycogen degradation. This protein kinase A phosphorylates and activates this enzyme, which is known as glycogen phosphorylase kinase. Okay, glycogen phosphorylase kinase is activated by phosphorylation by protein kinase A enzyme, and this glycogen phosphorylase kinase now activates your glycogen phosphorylase, and this glycogen phosphorylase then degrades the glycogen. So this is how it looks like. Epinephrine activates pKa, then pKa activates glycogen phosphorylase kinase, then this glycogen phosphorylase kinase activates glycogen phosphorylase, and this enzyme degrades glycogen. So because of epinephrine, there is degradation of glycogen. Now this dimeric glycogen phosphorylase of the skeletal muscle exists in two interconvertible forms. Okay, and those two interconvertible forms are active phosphorylase A and inactive phosphorylase B. Okay, phosphorylase A is active form, phosphorylase B is inactive form of the dimeric glycogen phosphorylase, which exists in skeletal muscle. So there is phosphorylase B enzyme. Okay, it has subunits, and in that subunits there are single serine residues. Now when this single serine residues of phosphorylase B are phosphorylated, then this inactive phosphorylase B gets converted into active phosphorylase A. As you remember, phosphorylase A is an active form and phosphorylase B is an inactive form. So inactive gets activated when these serine residues are phosphorylated. Now in the presence of epinephrine, the phosphorylase B, that inactive form, is converted into active form, that is phosphorylase A. So when you remove epinephrine from the system, then this phosphorylase A gets converted back into inactive phosphorylase B. So epinephrine is kind of responsible for the presence of phosphorylase A, active form of phosphorylase.